Hello, everyone. I'm just going to do a quick how-to for the assignment that is due this week on Tuesday. Um, we just had our live session and we discovered a couple of things. So our live session on September 5th, we covered this assignment. And what I'm realizing is after students started working, there's a couple of things that I want to make sure that you're aware of to make your lives just a little bit easier. So the assignment is here. So you're going to open the assignment. Obviously, this is from 11, the story that we read. So if you've not read 11 or watched the recording from 11, our Class Connect, where we went over that together in class, you may want to be sure to watch that before you attempt this assignment. And really quick, I'll show you where that is. So the recording is actually, I'll go back to this really fast, but 11. The reading portion of 11 is under where it says read. So you read here. You also can listen to the story here. There's an audio version if you would want to do that. And then on top of that, we covered this story in our live session. We did a read aloud. So if you need to access that, it's under the class recordings, which is going to pop up here. And we stopped and did some kind of think alouds as we're reading and things like that. So you have the availability to watch that recording if you are not in session with us, but hopefully you are in our session. So that is located, sorry, I should have these pulled up. That is located here. And this is the 9:15 class, and this is the 11 o'clock class. So pretty much the same, so whichever you would like to read. Okay, so with that, pulled up the assignment. What you want to realize is that there are 4 parts to this assignment. So there's part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. For each of these sections, there are multiple questions that you need to make sure that you're answering. So in section 1, you're looking at the question 11 is told from the first person point of view. So your first question is, why do you think the author made that choice? So why did Miss Cisneros decide to write in the first person? How does first person help the reader connect to Rachel's character? So there's 2 questions there. So why did the author choose to write in first person? How do you think that first person helps the reader connect to the Rachel's character? So that's all goes in this box. These boxes, you should just be able to type in them, okay? So you should just be able to go through and give your answer. Part 2, this is the more in-depth kind of difficult section. So what you're doing is in column 1, so column 1 comes here, but it also comes down here as well, or up here. So this is all column 1, right? Because it's on 2 separate pages. So in column 1, you are going to highlight 3 short quotes in blue. So this is an example already done for you, right? So this counts as not one of your quotes. So this does not count. So you need to make sure to have 3 additional quotes highlighted along with this one quote, okay? So you are going to find 3 quotes in blue that help the reader understand what type of person Rachel is. In column 2, you're going to explain, so this is column 2, you're going to explain that quote. So the example is, if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the red sweater on my desk. So that's the quote that I'm giving you as an example. The understanding here, or what I'm saying reveals about that quote, is Rachel Rachel's thoughts show that she is insecure. She is being really hard on herself for not standing up for herself more adequately, for Mrs. Price assumed the red sweater was hers. So when I'm getting this insecure word, I'm looking at this character trait. So if I click on this, there's a character trait list that pops up. So you have 175 positive character traits you can look at, and then there are 175 negative character traits. So you're going to pick a character trait for each quote that you pull up for the assignment. So you're going to pick 3 more quotes, highlight them in blue, somewhere through here. Then you're going to do kind of the same thing you did here. You're going to talk about which character trait that quote is discussing, and then you're going to expand on it just a little bit. Okay. One of the things we found in our live session was that you are actually not able to type in this box independently. So what you need to do is, as you're typing, you can hit enter if you want to jump down to that box, or you can just start typing. And as you start typing, it's eventually going to pop down into that next box. So you must start, so see how it went down. So you must, excuse me, start in this box somehow, and then you will end up in this box. And hitting enter will work for you if you want to do that, okay? So pretty easy for that. All right, so once you've done that, then the other part of part 2 is that you are going to go back to the passage here or up here, excuse me, and you are going to find a quote that highlights Mrs. Price's character. And then you're going to put that in pink. So by the time you're done, you're going to, if you leave this one, you'll have 4 blue quotes and 1 pink quote highlighted. The pink quote is for Mrs. Price, and you only need 1 of those. Once you highlight a quote that you think really identifies with Mrs. Price, then you're going to type your response down here and say, why does that quote that you chose show that trait? And again, you're going to go back to these traits, and you're going to pick a trait that that quote kind of is identifies with. Okay. So that's it for part 2. Then in part 3, you are going to list and cite 1 simile that stands out in the story as a significant moment in relation to the story's theme. And remember when we talked about the story before in our live session, the story had a few different themes that you can kind of look at. But remember, a simile is when you're comparing 2 things using like or as. So you're going to pull whatever simile is in here, and you're going to type it in here. You're going to copy and paste it. And then you are going to try your best to explain the meaning of the simile and how it reveals the message of the story. Okay? Then the last thing you're doing here is in part 4, and in part 4 is this is your opinion. Why does Rachel get so upset about the sweater? So that's question 1. What does that reveal about how she feels about herself? That's question 2. And then part 3 is, how do you think you would react if something similar were to happen to you? So for this reflection on part 4, you're answering 3 different questions. So make sure that you're answering all of those. So with that, please let me know if you have any questions, but hopefully that helps clarify some of the questions you will have as you start to work on the assignment.